Good afternoon. Today we're honored to interview the newest recipient of Lunenburg's Boston Post cane. We are here with Clarence Gogan and his son John. And Clarence is 100 years old, and he's going to tell us about some of his very interesting and incredible life. He was just honored at Mount Wachusett with the Army 10th Mountain Division, and there was just an honorary plaque put up there, and maybe he can tell us a little more about that.
They got a trail they call 10 Mountain Trail. They did one trail up to Wachusett.
And you were a skier?
I was everything.
And you were in World War II?
Played hockey, baseball, speed skating,
Go.
ski jumping.
Go.
Golf.
And you were responsible for training, I understand, Arthur Longshow, the famous speed skater and Olympian from Fitchburg?
Yeah, well, Arthur Longshow was top racer in the country.
And you trained with him?
I was a little older than him, so I didn't race against him.
But you skated with him?
Oh yeah, we brought him up.
Wow, that's really impressive.
And he went up to Canada with my brother Alec, which is 2.5 years younger than I was. And on the way home, he went off the road and he hit a tree and it killed him.
Oh,
My brother Alec wasn't the driver.
Oh.
Some other skater.
No, that was a sad day in Fitchburg. And he was an Olympian in both Winter and Summer Olympics?
Yeah, he entered the Winter Games and the Winter Summer Games. The only one in history that did that.
Right. And there's a memorial in Fitchburg to him for that. And also you skated with Carmelita Landry?
Oh, and she was the one in our club too. We formed a skating club.
And
I was a ski jumper in Maine. We had the biggest jump in Maine.
wow.
And I just started to go with the big jump when we moved to Pittsburgh on account of the mill in Rumford. Two big paper mills, one folded up and went to Carolinas. So my dad was the first one to leave the city, town of Lunenburg, Rumford. And my grandfather and grandmother lived here, so that's why we came to Pittsburgh.
Now,
Started the ski jumping up here in the Alpine. We built the jump and all that, but there's a lack of snow. But it was a good skating, a lot of ice, so we went into skating.
and you could do just about any sport, I understand. Pretty good golfer, too, in the summer,
Yeah,
when you couldn't
played golf.
skate and ski.
Pitch baseball.
Oh, right.
Awesome.
When I was 6 or 7 years old, up in Maine, we had an outing, go to a lake, and I threw the longest ball
Wow.
of all the kids. I brought home a medal. I gave it to my mother. I don't know what happened. Never seen it after that.
Now, when you were in World War II, you were were you in the Aleutian Islands? Or was that a different time?
I went into the 10th Mountain Division. They were in the state of Washington. And we went up to Kitsker Island because the troops landed on R2 out there, the longest island. They froze their feet and they had a hard time. So that's why they sent the 87th Regiment, mountain troops, up there. And when we landed, it took 3 days to find out that there wasn't a Jap on the island.
Oh, my
And they were there 3 days before we landed.
Wow.
They went home.
They knew you were coming.
We took the island R2, and they knew that we were going to take that one too.
Wow, what a career you've had.
So while we were sitting there, they decided to build 2 more regiments to make a division. So they sent 140 of us back to Colorado to train 2 more regiments.
Wow.
So we were in a mountain training group.
And that's the group that was honored up at
And once
Mount Wachusett?
we trained them all, and the Germans, they were up in the Alpines in Italy, in the mountains. And General Grant couldn't go up in the valleys with his troops. So they sent the 10th Mountain, wipe all the Germans on the top of the mountains out of there.
Wow.
And after that, they took off for Berlin.
Wow.
They headed for Berlin. 80 miles from Berlin, we waited for the Russians to come 80 miles, so we'd meet. And when we got to 80 miles, I was in Germany then. I had to leave, and I went to Paris on the leave. The war ended in Germany while I was in Paris.
Oh my goodness.
I went back to Germany a month or 2 later, and I had another leave. I went to Paris. While I was in Paris, the war ended in Japan. I came out of the elevator, in the ground.
Subway.
And I come out of the subway, and the people were going crazy. We didn't know what the hell happened.
Oh my goodness. We'll send you to Paris, all the wars will end.
I went back to Germany.
Did you wear white when you were skiing?
Huh?
I saw some pictures of you in white. Did you wear white when you were skiing?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Great.
Well, we were training the troops
Yes.
in Colorado. We had the longest chair lift to take the skiers up on the hill.
So did you just watch the Olympics with the skiers in the Olympics?
No,
You just watched some of the Olympics. The Olympics.
I lost out on the Olympics. I didn't make it.
Yeah. Oh, I wondered what you thought of the skiers today.
Arthur Longjoe made the Olympics.
That's right. That's right. So I also understand that you brought some of that Scandinavia to the United States with your Saab dealership with the Swedish cars.
I was one of the first 4 dealers in the country
Wow, that's amazing.
to grab the Saab.
Right here in Lunenburg.
Yeah, I know, in Pittsburgh,
Oh, in Fitchburg.
on River Street.
Oh, okay.
I was selling foreign cars.
One of the first ones in the country.
3 or 4 different makes. When Saab came along with a 3-cylinder, the guy said, "You want to sell this car?" Yeah. He had 3 cylinders, and he was running on 1. The 2. One was oil defective. It wouldn't fire. So it was a 2-cylinder. Boom, 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 boom. And I took them, and I was one of the first 4 dealers.
Wow. Good
I
for
started
you.
selling them, and Volkswagen, I was selling them by the trailer parks. And they came back, told me, "We're going to take the dealership away from you because we can't supply you."
Oh,
They didn't get enough. So while they were gone, Saab came along, and I grabbed the Saab. I was one of the first 4 dealers,
and you did very, very well with that.
and I was selling them. So I moved to Leominster,
Uh-huh.
where the bowling alley is. They gave me all the buildings in front on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
They put the bowling alley way in the back. And I took all them buildings apart. And I took them up to Franklin Road, parked them in on my lot. And from there, I bought this place. And I brought all the stuff over here. And I built that garage.
Right here on Electric Ave.
Fixed his house all up.
That's amazing. What a wonderful success story. I have to ask you about another success story. I understand that you've been married for 75 years, and I was wondering what the secret of success of a 75-year marriage is.
I kept my mouth shut.
This is Jogan. I love that. I love that.
You couldn't beat her.
And this is the plaque that was just given at Mount Wachusett. And what an incredible career you've had. What an amazing life you've had. And we are so honored to give you the Boston Post cane. That will be happening shortly at a ceremony at the Eagle House. We are so honored to meet you. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your life? Because I just think it's so outstanding.
Wow. I pitched baseball for St. Joe's.
Really? Well, you were a pitcher. Did you play any other positions?
No.
Just pitching?
Well, up in Maine, my brother Rainey, I had two older brothers.
Mm-hmm.
He was a coach in high school. He pitched for the high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a grammar school, and I was a pitcher. So I went out for the team. Instead of putting me in the box, he had another pitcher he liked more. So he put me out in the outfield. I said, Jesus, the guy hit a hot, the guys were 6 feet, over 6 feet tall, big guys. Why? And geez, you come out to him, and here he comes. Boom! I grabbed it.
You got it.
We won.
All right.
Do you like the Red Sox?
You like the Red Sox?
Like the Red Sox?
That was the end of the baseball. But the mill up in Maine folded up. So half the town was empty, out of work. My dad came to Pittsburgh because my mother's father and mother live here on the Fairmont Street.
Mm-hmm.
So he came down, found a job. My sister came down, found a job. I came down, found a job. Then the whole family moved.
Mm-hmm. Do you like the Red Sox?
Huh?
Do you like the Red Sox?
Well, the Braves was...
The Braves.
I like the Braves better because they gave the young guys and not so tough pitchers, players. So the Braves would... So I used to hike down, get on Route 2 over here, hike the baseball all by myself.
Yes.
Did you have
Watch the game, hike back.
Did you have a favorite player?
Huh?
Did you have a favorite player?
Well, there were, Max West was one of them,
Uh-huh.
and there was an outfielder there that was top notch. But
Did you like Warren Spahn?
Yeah, Warren Spahn was one
Yeah.
of them. And there was a right-hand pitcher with him too,
Sane.
Sane? Johnny Sane?
Johnny Sane. So I used to go down and watch him play a lot.
Great.
Great. Okay.
Then when it gets colder, I started to hike, a lot of hiking. And when the ponds froze, I started skating with short skates.
Mm-hmm.
And we formed a skating club, Mirror Lake Skating Club. We ordered some long leg skates. And my mother took our underwears, long underwears, and snow, water folders, jockeys, covered the long John Underwood. And then we formed a club, Mirror Lake Skating Club. So everybody ordered suits and blades.
Awesome.
After that, we took off. Every town that put on a carnival,
The bag.
we would enter. We
The
wipe
picture
them all.
of the underwear.
We clean them
The
up.
skating. Yeah. That's what she
Yeah,
did.
That's what,
I colored it. I did the coloring, you know, but this is the color she dyed,
Oh, wow.
so they would be up to date with other skaters.
Yeah.
And they're telling the Lonjo, you
Get it?
skated with Lonjos.
Reflection.
Yeah. And so they had to be up to date with.
And this is the bride of 75 years here.
No, 74.
Oh, 74?
July 4th.
Oh, well, it's coming right up.
Independence Day, huh?
And my daughter this summer, her second marriage, she wants to get married on July 4th.
And my brother Alec.
Yeah.
My brother Alec was 2.5 years younger than I was. And we entered the Boston Silver Skate Derby, 32 laps,
Wow.
and we finished like this.
Really? That's
His nose was a bit longer.
So he won by a nose.
He won. I sent him to New York to race in the
Really?
skating champions, all the winners.
Just because he had a longer nose.
And the following year, I went down into the Boston, I won it. In the meantime, they already had the race in New York.
No.
I missed out. So they wouldn't send me. The year that I won it was after New York. So it was too late.
You're still a winner. And we
So
appreciate it.
I won the Providence Silver Skate Derby.
Wow.
Then I went in the Army. We started a skating club in the Army.
Really?
We went to St. Louis. And there was one guy in front of me. And he would go on the inside. So you could go by on the outside. On the last lap I wanted to go by. Son of a gun, he went on the outside.
Oh.
So I cut in. When I cut in, he drove his skate, and that's mine. Down he goes. And I won the race, and they disqualified me. They gave it to Johnny Simmons. He come in third or fourth.
Ooh.
So then I went back to Colorado, and then we entered the Chicago Silver Skate Derby. From Camp Hale was up in 1,400 feet up in the mountains. The air was thin up there. So we went down to Denver, a mile down.
It's still thin there.
We were skating, boy, we couldn't get tired. And the Fitchburg, there's a Finn, fancy skater. He was in Denver, and we met him at the rink. And then the next day we took off to Chicago. And in Chicago, I was ready to pass the two guys after skating. There was two guys in front of me, and I was third. I went outside. This guy here seen me, so he cut across. He hit my skate, and my brother's hand was right on my heel. And I went up, and my skate hit it right here. It cut that tendon right off. He couldn't move his thumb.
Oh my goodness.
And I went almost on my face. By the time I regrouped, there was two guys in front of me. So I came back, and I was gaining. The finish line was here, and I hadn't didn't enough time to pass them, so I finished third.
Still pretty good.
I was trying to win.
Well, you are certainly a winner to us, and
So
you...
we took my brother Alec to the doctors. They sewed that up,
Yeah,
so
he could use it.
and they said, "You're not going back to Colorado. You ain't going to do no good there. Stay here." So they kept him in Chicago for 30 days.
Wow.
So he entered 2 or 3 carnivals with his arm wrapped up.
Tough cookie, huh?
Then they sent him to Colorado for with us.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate all you've done
Thanks
for
for
your
coming.
country, all you've done for Lunenburg, and it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much.
And thanks again.
And we'll see you soon to get your cane.
Huh?
We'll see you soon to get your cane.
Okay.
I'm Sue Doherty. I'm the director here at the Lunenburg Council on Aging, and I want to welcome Clarence, his whole family, his friends, his cribbage buddies, and anybody else that showed up today to celebrate with Clarence for this great occasion. First off, I would like to introduce Christy Mylott. She's the district director from Senator Tran's office. And Christy, would you like to come up? And she's going to present Clarence with an official citation from the senator.
Hi, Clarence. Happy birthday.
Congratulations.
On behalf of Senator Dave Tran, we'd like to wish you a happy 100th birthday, and this is your 100th citation.
Oh, wait.
You look fabulous.
Hey,
That's wonderful. Happy birthday.
thank you.
Do you want to hold it up so they can take a picture with your face? Okay? There we go. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Christy. And next, I'd like to introduce Pete Lincoln. He's the chairperson of the Lunenburg Council on Aging, and he has a little bit of history about the Boston Post cane. Pete?
Welcome, everyone. Anyone here remember the Boston Post newspaper? I'll bet Clarence would. The Boston Post was, at one point, the largest circulation of any newspaper in America, in the 30s and 40s especially. On August 2nd, 1909, a Mr. Edward Grozier, who was the publisher of the Boston Post at the time, forwarded to the Board of Selectmen in 700 towns in New England a gold-headed ebony cane with a request that it be presented with the compliments of the Boston Post to the oldest male citizen of the town, to be used by him as long as he lives or moves from the town, and at his death handed down to the next oldest citizen of the town. The cane would belong to the town, not to the man who received it. The canes were all made by J.F. Friedley and Company, a New York manufacturer, from ebony shipped in 7-foot lengths from the Congo in Africa. They were cut to cane lengths, seasoned for 6 months, turned on lathes to the right thickness, coated and polished. They had a 14-karat gold head 2 inches long, decorated by hand, and a ferrule tip. The head was engraved with the inscription, presented by the Boston Post to the oldest citizen of, whatever the name of the town was, to be transmitted. The Board of Selectmen were to be the trustees of the cane and to keep it always in the hands of the oldest citizen. Apparently no Connecticut or Vermont towns were included, probably because they were too far from the post to be primary to the circulation. No canes were presented to cities, just to 700 separate towns. and about 300 of them were in Massachusetts. Some were excluded, probably because they didn't have any post offices at the time. In 1924, Mr. Grosier died, and the Boston Post was taken over by his son Richard, who failed to continue his father's success. And at one time, the Boston Post was considered the nation's leading standard-sized newspaper in circulation, but competition from other newspapers, radio and TV contributed to the Post's decline, and it went out of business in 1957. The custom of the Boston Post cane took hold in those towns lucky enough to have canes. As years went by, some of the canes were lost, or stolen, or taken out of town and not returned to selectmen, or destroyed by accident. In 1930, after considerable controversy, eligibility for the cane was open to women as well. And today, of course, it's getting older citizens. Our cane, which we still have, is in a case out in the lobby if you'd like to take a look at it. And about half of the 700 canes are still in use. There is a website, Boston Post cane website, which I urge you to go out and check out because it tells what each town is doing for the cane. A few of them have done reproductions of canes, and one town in particular I think is kind of cute. They let the person who gets the cane have it for 2 or 3 days, and then they take it back. And Jamie pointed out like the Stanley Cup. So we have been giving this cane since 1909, but if anyone has any way of finding out who the cane recipients were in this town prior to 1969, we'd really appreciate finding out what those names are. Since 69, there's a list of the people out in the lobby. The last person to hold it was Sarah Powell, who at the presentation here was able to recite the alphabet backwards. Remarkable. And the person before that is Mrs. Green, threw out the first ball at Fenway Park shortly after receiving it. So we've got some quite notable people here. I'd like to ask my wife, Deb, to come up and talk about Mr. Gogan. We had a chance to speak with him at some length at his home a few days ago, and when this program is presented on television, that interview will be included as well, and I think you'll get a real kick out of seeing it. Thank you. Deb.
It's always a pleasure to meet the recipients of the Boston Post cane and learn about their long and storied lives. So I was really looking forward to interviewing Clarence Gogan. What I did not expect is that I would want to kidnap him and take him home with me. He was engaging, entertaining, fun, and a truly remarkable man. If I were to tell you all of his accomplishments, we would be here well past supper time. So here are a few highlights. Clarence was attached to the Army 10th Mountain Division, which specialized in fighting in mountainous and Arctic conditions. He trained soldiers to ski, fought in Germany, and served in the Aleutian Islands. In February, a plaque at Mount Wachusett was rededicated to this illustrious group, and Clarence was present, receiving a ceremonial bottle of bourbon, which I got to see at his house. His athletic talents were not limited to the ski slopes. He was also an ice hockey player and a competitive speed skater. He trained the famous Olympian Arthur Longstreth and skated with Carmelita Landry. He was a terrific golfer, with holes in one to his credit. Visiting Clarence's home, you will see an abundance of trophies, plaques, and medals attesting to his abilities. Clarence also opened one of the first Saab dealerships in the United States, one of 4. Clarence has been with his wife Blanche for nearly 75 years. When I asked him the secret to the longevity of their relationship, he answered, "I keep my mouth shut." How can you not love a man like that? It is my privilege to present to you the newest recipient of Lunenburg's Boston Post-Cane, Clarence Gogan. Select Board Chairman to present the Boston Post-Cane pin from Lunenburg.
Mr. Gogan,
Yeah.
on behalf of the town of Lunenburg and from the Board of Selectmen, I am very proud to present you with a replica of the Boston Post-Cane. May I pin this on you? Is this replica of the king reflected in the right on the collar. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
My honor.
That's nice.
Thank you very much.
Please help yourself to coffee, lemonade. We're going to cut the cake up and we'll put it out on plates here for everybody to enjoy. Congratulations, Clarence.